What is up, all forms of social media? James Joseph Edward Jessberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. Today, we are tuning in for something different. If you do not know from my channel, I just finished playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just got through my playthrough of it. And as you know from the description in my videos, I have never played a Final Fantasy video before. And at the end of it, there were so many questions I had, and I heard through the grapevine that a lot of people who played Final Fantasy games before were also confused about how Final Fantasy VII ended and what's to come now and what kind of things were talked about, what exactly happened. So I did a little bit of research. I did find this IGN report about Final Fantasy VII Remake ending explained. Now, if you do not want to be spoiled about the Final Fantasy VII game that originally came out, and then this was the remake on top of it, I would click on another video. I'm going to save you the trouble. But if you are confused, you saw my playthrough, you're a noob like me, and you just want to know what the hell was going on at the end of it, let's talk about it now. So I did read this article already. That was a few days when I completed Final Fantasy VII, but I'm going to read it technically for the first time with you guys, and let's just talk about some of the things that are addressed here. The ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake is unexpected, a little confusing, and very, very meta. Now, for those who don't know, for me, this game was, the ending was unexpected, very confusing, and very, I wouldn't say meta, but like, you do need to know what's going on. Meta just means that you know things that are happening before it happens, or like, you're given information that you shouldn't really know at the time, so like, that's what I think they're trying to relate back to, and I kind of feel that, but not very, very meta. If you've just watched the credits roll and are still reeling from the revelations and changes, then you're not on your own. And if you found you don't know what on Gaia is going on, then you're in exactly the right place. We're here to explain the unanswered questions presented in the finale as best we can. Anyway, did we mention that it's confusing? I'm a writer just like this person. So this was written by Matt Perslow, and I write the same exact way for my resumes and such. So essentially, I'm not going to read all this, but essentially, who is the soldier with the black hair? Now, this article went on to say that this, if you would have never had the subtitles on, you would have never known this character's name in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I actually had my subtitles on because I want you guys to be able to read, and for those who are hearing impaired or anything like that, or, you know, maybe just the video quality was bad, I want you guys to be able to read all of it. So this is a character named Zack. They go on to say that his name is Zack Fair, a major character from Cloud's past. Now, basically, they say in this article, from what I remember, and I'll read a little bit if I've missed anything, but they were soldiers together, and that's why he is the Buster Sword too, as like a soldier. They also talk about, isn't this great, that he's Aerith's, that's hard to say. He is also Aerith's ex-boyfriend. So for those of you who go, oh my god, I'm Team Cloud and Aerith, or I'm Team Tifa and Cloud, this kind of explained a lot of that. Zack originally, in the original game, is very dead, very dead. He was on a mission with Cloud, and they were learning about Sephiroth's like true nature and what he was trying to do. They managed to stop Sephiroth, but both passed out after the fight. They were taken by Professor Hojo and experimented on as a part of a project known as Genova Reunion, which was an attempt to restore an alien creature that was used to create Sephiroth. So for any of those who went, I don't know who the hell Sephiroth is because I haven't played a Final Fantasy game, like me, Sephiroth is an alien. I know, right? Remember when I was talking about all the religious stuff and the science and the magic? Like, this game is really all about everything. That's the gross thing you saw in the Shinra headquarters, and the company believes it is the key to discovering the Ancients' promised land. So the Ancients are technically aliens. Hojo's experiments produced a group of people infused with Genova's cells, and each was tattooed with a number. The hooded man who lives next door to Cloud and Tifa is one of the Hojo's victims. So remember how I was saying before, like, wow, the guy with the tattoo kind of showed up randomly? He was one of Hojo's victims who could have technically been Sephiroth, technically. Due to his link to the cells inside them, Sephiroth was able to control them as puppets. We see this in the remake when he forces one of those failed so-called Sephiroth clones to murder President Shinra. Zack eventually managed to escape Hojo and dragged a severely Mako-poisoned Cloud with him. He traveled to Midgard with hopes of building a new life, but was stopped by a group of Shinra soldiers who brutally executed him. Barely conscious, Cloud took Zack's weapon, the Buster Sword, from his body and completed the journey to Midgard alone. So a lot of you guys are going, well, at the end of the game, Zack was still carrying Cloud. This is where this starts to get crazy. I'm going to skip a lot of this. Cloud, Aerith, Barret, and Tifa all went to the past. And now they're making a different storyline. So there's a few people who are saying, well, is this the same timeline as Zack and Cloud when Zack dies? Or is there a future where Zack lives? Right? Isn't that crazy? So a lot of people are saying, like, well, Zack is still alive, sort of. If Cloud lived through it, you know, because he's still there, it's not like he got destroyed. Zack might still be alive, essentially. Then it goes into what are the Whispers. The party frequently encounters hooded specters that are eventually revealed to be the Whisperers. Red 13 describes them as arbiters of fate and explains that their sole purpose is to ensure that destiny plays out according to plan, as they are directly responsible for ensuring certain situations play out, such as when they restore Barret after he is killed by Sephiroth. So we already kind of knew that they make sure fate happens the way it's supposed to be, and Barret wasn't supposed to be killed by Sephiroth. So even though the Whispers are kind of working for Cloud and Sephiroth at the same time, they're just making sure that fate happens the way that it's supposed to happen. Then we go into who is Sephiroth and why does he want to destroy the planet? That was the biggest concern for me. Not exactly like who is Sephiroth. Like, I thought he was Cloud's brother, which technically he is because he was made from the clone DNA of the alien and the soldiers. So it's a little interesting how that works. But I was like, well, what's his motive? So they go on to say that Sephiroth in the game essentially just wanted to become a god. Like, he just wanted to become a god. He wanted to rule everything. And part of his plan to achieve that involves finding and exploiting the Promised Land, a legendary place that was supposedly once home to Aerith's ancestors, the Ancients. For a little more spoiler-heavy context, Sephiroth intends to generate godly power by absorbing the life stream, a spiritual force with a planet that effectively works as the world's white blood cells. Sephiroth plans to create an extinction level event by causing a meteor to collide with the planet. That was what the ending was, why I was so confused. As seen in one of the flash forwards provided by the Whispers. By standing at the impact point, he can absorb the life stream and become all-powerful. Sephiroth believes the Promised Land is the ideal point for all this to happen. Where Remake further complicates things is by revealing that Sephiroth apparently knows that his plans for godhood are doomed to fail. So apparently, in the first game, they never talk about Sephiroth being like, I'm going to destroy the planet and blah, blah, blah. In this one, they elaborate on it, and they say, like, Sephiroth knows that, like, it's going to be complicated. Like, he knows that something wrong is going to happen. Isn't that crazy with all that stuff? So, a few things. Also, when I'm doing this announcement, or this video, they're actually making Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. So they just announced that today. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen. Now we get to play this game where Cloud, Aerith, Barret, and Tifa are now in the past trying to solve what's wrong with Destiny and making sure that things go right and things lead up to where Sephiroth was almost destroying the planet. And what would he do with the last 7 seconds that Cloud had? Isn't that interesting? I thought it was really cool. Like, I just was like, wow. It does kind of break some things like Kingdom Hearts. You know when somebody tries to explain Kingdom Hearts, they're like, well, this thing, and then it's like learning French. It's like, well, there's rules, and there's rules that negates the rules, but there's also rules that negate those rules, and there's also rules that keep the first rules but negate the other rules, and it's like, what the hell are you talking about? That's what this game kind of feels like in a good way. Kingdom Hearts was a little like, you guys are bending it to kind of sound like Final Fantasy, whatever. That's my take. I'm actually excited. I thought there was more to him anyway, and now I'm really happy that we got to see more out of this game and understand some things that are going on. I can't wait for the second game to come out, and let's see how it goes from there. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's get this channel up and up more because I'm never stopping. As always, my name is James Joseph Edward Jesperger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short, and I'll always see you guys in the next one. Peace.